All right, so for ionic compounds, it's pretty obvious that they're going to form electrolytes, right? For example, you've got sodium chloride. Sodium is positive, chloride is negative, so it makes sense that they're going to form ions when dissolved in water and thus form electrolytes. However, covalent compounds can also form electrolytes. So let's take a look at how that happens. And so in order for this to occur, what must happen is the covalent compound must react with the water to form ions. So the most common example of this is acids and bases. So think about what acids are. We have HCl here, right? Hydrochloric acid. Remember that acids are proton donors. So if we have an acid and then we have a molecule of water, what's going to happen is one of the lone pairs from the oxygen is going to attach itself to this hydrogen, and then the electrons in this bond will go on to the chlorine. So this is what's known as electron pushing diagram. You don't have to know how to draw these. This is more organic chemistry. So if you like organic chemistry or are going to take organic chemistry, you'll see a lot of these arrow pushing mechanisms, and I'll sprinkle them in here in Chem 102. And so what will form is now we have water with 3 bonds and only 1 lone pair. Think about the formal charge there. If you think about it correctly, this will be positively charged. And then we have this chlorine, which just gained an extra lone pair. So it has 8 valence electrons. And so its formal charge will be negative. So you can see how an acid is reacting with water to form ions. And so since HCl is what's known as a strong acid, strong acids basically completely react, completely give up all their H pluses. It will also act as a strong electrolyte. And kind of the same story for bases here. So if we take a look at a base, probably the most popular one is ammonia. So it's NH3. Remember, this has a lone pair, and then we have a molecule of water over here. Since the ammonia is going to act as the base, its lone pair of electrons are going to come form a bond with this H, and then the electrons in this OH bond are going to go onto the oxygen. And so then what will form is nitrogen with 4 H's bond to it and no lone pair. And so if you think about the formal charge there, it's going to be positive. And then we'll form an OH now with this oxygen having 6 lone electrons and a negative formal charge. So you can see how acids and bases can react to form ions. And since ammonia is a weak base, it will form a weak electrolyte. So you want to be aware that just because something's not ionic doesn't necessarily mean it won't form ions.